afternoon, everyone. I would like to start out by asking a really simple question. When was the last time that you scrolled through Instagram or X, previously Twitter? For me, it was right before I went on stage. And if you're anything like me, I bet you've seen the trend, he's a 10. But he's a 10, but he doesn't like Taylor Swift, so he's a 0. He deserves it, right? Or she's a 10, but she bites the skin off her lips when she's anxious. We'll be 5 if you ask me to rate. But seriously, we've all been there. You meet someone, you seem perfect, but then, boom, you discover the little quirks, flaws, something that makes them a little bit less than ideal. But let's pause for a moment. Why do we expect perfection in the first place? Like, really, who decided that we need flawless skin, perfect nose, or the ability to play an instrument while being a straight A student all at the same time? These playful trends subtly remind us that perfection is a myth. The truth is, we all have our buts. And it is these imperfections that make us real, that make us relatable, that make us, well, human. Imperfections, what do we mean when we talk about them? The irony is, there's no perfect definition for imperfect because it's imperfect by nature. But in broad terms, we could say that imperfections are the aspects of ourselves or our lives that don't quite fit into the molds and don't quite match up to the ideals. Now, when we talk about imperfections, our minds often jump to physical traits or personal abilities, like the shape of our nose, the tone of our skin, or the ability to perform well at school. Why? Because these are the areas where we have clear models, clear standards to compare against. We can measure these traits, and that measurement will tell whether we're perfect or imperfect. Now, let's be honest. Most of us aren't exactly fond of our imperfections. We cover them up, try to hide them away, or even despise them. And it is the reason why there's a multi-billion-dollar industry that is dedicated to fixing our flaws. Just imagine if one day we all woke up and decided to love our natural skin tone or stop worrying about the shape of our nose. Then the beauty industry would have a collective breakdown. On the surface, people might look at me and think, wow, she's got it all. I come from a family with a really strong academic tradition, with incredibly supportive parents. I'm going to a pre-teacher's high school, very competitive to get in. I have a height that many girls would dream of. And I luckily have a pretty deep and pleasant voice that many would compliment and say it resembles that of a TV anchor. But there's a but. I don't have double eyelids, which is, according to Asian beauty standards, a big flaw. I still remember how, as a kid, I used to use a black marker to draw the crease of my eyelids to create the look I thought I needed. And then there are the moles, more than most people I know. Without my chin, neck, my shoulders, and even my fingers. I used to wear long sleeves, even in the summer, or keep my head down just like this, just to keep them out of sight. And then there are the imperfections that are much harder to hide, especially for a straight A student. I know it may sound like a brag, but trust me, the pressure was real. Even the smallest mistake could make me feel foolish and inferior. So, I decided to take the easy way out. I didn't try, I didn't take risks. Because if I didn't try, I couldn't fail. 5 years of guitar lessons, gone. Right up because I thought I wasn't good enough. Because investing more effort into something that was doomed to fail was a total waste. 2 singing lessons, gone. right after my friends found out about this and encouraged me to go perform on stage. You see, before I could even consider the opportunities and benefits, my weaknesses and shortcomings would shut down all those possibilities. I built a shell around myself that separated me from anything that might reveal my flaws. I dedicated myself entirely to studying the one thing I know for sure I was strong at. My day's end was structured and predictable. Waking up at 6, attending school, coming home for dinner, before heading off to another class until 10 p.m. I succeeded in maintaining the image of the perfect student and the golden child that every family dreams of. But there's still a but. Life was becoming dull and repetitive. The pursuit of this perfect image was limiting me. I wasn't taking risks. I wasn't experiencing. I wasn't growing. It hit me. This is not who I am. But I didn't dare to change the system. It wasn't until one day, a few years ago, during a book presentation contest, that I came to a realization. I didn't sign up for this myself, of course. I didn't dare to. My homeroom teacher did, believing that my expressive voice would perfect fit for the task. And I believed it too. Until I accidentally overheard the very first criticism of my voice during backstage. So the opposing team members were discussing how my voice was too monotonous, as if I was trying too hard to imitate a TV anchor. My first reaction to hearing those words, surprisingly, wasn't panic nor fear, but rather, so what? Because if there's anything that I've been always confident in and fully capable of, it's my voice. Because apart from them, no one has ever complained about it. People would usually praise it. Criticism was the last thing that I could expect. It made me realize that it was way too easy for us to let others' opinions make us question our strength. Society always loved handing out vote checklists to tell how we should look, how to behave, or what we should achieve. Because uniformity and similarity are supposed to help us co-live together happily. But remember this one thing. We weren't made to be perfect. We weren't programmed to fit into the molds. Our value doesn't lie in meeting those checklists that was created by others. Each and every part of us, whether it's a strength or a weakness, is a unique piece of one-of-a-kind individual. Now, don't get me wrong. Imperfections are not always easy to deal with. It takes incredible courage, and this courage often comes from loving yourself and also your quirks. And when we stop hiding and start owning our imperfections, we start to unlock the power of authenticity, and we came to realize that the very things that make us imperfect is precisely the things that make us extraordinary. My imperfections held me back from being truly seen and expressing who I really was. But when it came to something that I knew that was strong, it's my voice. I dare to ask, so what? And this simple question became my turning point. I realized that the key to overcoming any insecurities and fears about our imperfections lie in daring to ask, so what? We may not come from a privileged background or lead the lives that others want. So what? We may not have the perfect body or the ideal face. So what? These so-called imperfections are not limitations. They're simply aspects of ourselves that set us apart in a world that always tries to make us the same. So the first step toward the self-acceptance journey is to stop blaming ourselves. You know, as human beings, we have the deep seated need to find someone or something to blame for whenever things go wrong. It's natural, right? We all want to make sense of the challenges that we're going through or to pinpoint the source of our difficulties. But here's the reality: sometimes the culprit doesn't exist. There are many circumstances that we have no power over. Think about our family background, our outward appearance, or all these unavoidable events like car accidents or chronic illnesses. We have no power over them. Yet, how often do we carry the weight of these things as our personal failures? How often do we let them define us, make us feel ashamed, or even let them hold us back from living our lives to the fullest? The truth is, we don't have to, and we shouldn't. We take no responsibility for these things, and there's no reason for us to be ashamed or to let them be the barriers that stop us from moving forward. The next crucial step is to challenging the very idea of perfection. We spend our lives chasing this ideal, yet it remains perpetually out of reach. But the very things that we perceive as imperfections, the quirks, flaws, are the things that make us who we are. In a world that constantly tells us to hide our flaws, I am here to challenge you to do the opposite, to celebrate them. The only difference between the one who spend their lives feeling insecure and those who walk through it with confidence lie in perspective. Those who are confident, they don't measure themselves by the view of others or by the notions that was imposed on them. Instead, they see their imperfections as cracks that let the light in. And this perspective can also be applied in daily situations. A cracked vase at the bottom might accidentally water those little flowers along the roadside, or getting lost in an unfamiliar place can eventually lead us to a hidden spot of incredible beauty. Be open to unexpected blessings that imperfections can bring about. Last but not least, life is about taking risks, facing failures, and learning from them. Without our weakness, without our shortcomings, life would be nothing more than a monotonous song. Upbeat, energetic, perhaps, but lacking the depth and richness that make it truly beautiful. Perfection, in its purest form, lies in uniqueness and diversity. Imagine how boring life would be if we're all perfect and if we never face challenges, because no one would ever learn anything from being perfect, right? So now let's return to the story of my voice during that competition. If I had allowed those backstage comments to discourage me, my team wouldn't have secured the second place in that contest, and I might have given up on trying anything new and challenging. Maybe I wouldn't be standing here today, sharing this story with you, still using the low tone voice. I might not have broken my own barriers and realized my full potential. And probably my life would have remained a repetitive, monotonous cycle and devoid of meaning. So, never be ashamed of your perfect imperfections. Instead, ask yourself, so what? Explore them, learn from them, turn them into your unique features. And remember this one thing: we weren't made to be perfect, we were made to be us. Embrace your imperfections, not as flaws, but as the very qualities that make us who we are. And that's where the magic happens. Thank you.